Kate and welcome to Q Cafe. Ayan, isang gabi na naman po ng ating tambay together with our guest for this evening. I'm so excited because our topic for this evening is really something that I feel that would be really essential for the ladies out there. Lalo na, we're still celebrating, of course, the month-long Mother's Day. O, diba? I know some of you are still celebrating
Wala
Mother's
pa.
Day with their parents, and I'm so happy that for tonight, for this evening, our guest speaker finished her degree in Doctor of Medicine at FEU. She took her residency training at the Cardinal Santos Medical Center. She had her fellowship in reproductive medicine at the Consortium of FEU and NRMF and Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center. She is the Vice President of the Marikina Valley Medical Society and the Vice President of POG's Metro Rizal chapter. So without further ado, let me welcome Dr. Jeline Angela Marasigan. Hi, Doc! Kamusta?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me, Muzencor Consulting, and thank you for being a part of Q Cafe community.
Yes, we're so delighted to have you here, Doctora. And I'm really excited for what you will be sharing with us tonight. And I'm ready to take notes. So you guys, Doctora is an OBGY. Ayan. So para sa mga shoutout sa mga friends ko dyan na may PCOS. Anyway, so let's learn from Doctora. Doc, take it away, Doc.
Okay. So first of all, what is an OBGYN or obstetrician gynecologist? So an OBGYN is a doctor who specializes in women's reproductive health. Obstetricians care for women during their pregnancy and just after the baby is born. So we deliver babies. An OBGYN is trained to do all of these things. Your OBGYN will deal with some of the most important health issues in women's reproductive life, including birth control, childbirth, and menopause. So does everybody know what menopause is? So menopause is when you stop the menstruation or the ovaries won't function anymore because they lack hormones being secreted like estrogen or progesterone. So when you stop menses for 1 year, that's when you have menopausal stage. Okay, so an OBGYN can also screen for cancer, treat infections, and perform surgery for pelvic organs. So because OBGYNs deal with such personal and sensitive health issues, the thought of seeing an obstetrician, especially for the first time, may be troubling to some women. Or you might be nervous or embarrassed having a doctor see the most private parts of your body, or you may be reluctant to discuss your most intimate issues with an OBGYN. As you're making a decision, whether you prefer a male or a female obstetrician gynecologist, some women are more comfortable with a woman because they will have to undress completely during the examination. So, what do you expect in a OBGYN visit? So, first of all, when you should start seeing an obstetrician gynecologist. So the recommendation is that girls should see their obstetrician gynecologist when they turn 13 to 15 years old or when they become sexually active, no? So pag sexually active na sila, they should start seeing an OBGYN. So whichever comes first, no, kung nauna ba ang 13 years old to 15 years old or sexually active na sila. The first visit for teens may just include a talk with the doctor. Wala na munang examination about mga 13 to 15 years old sila. So your appointment will usually start with general questions or general health check. The nurse or the secretary will weigh you and take your vital signs. She will then lead you to the clinic. So you will meet your doctor inside the clinic. Then upon entering the clinic, the patient will be greeted by the doctor. So magpapakilala yung OBGYN, and then that's when the doctor-patient relationship starts. Your OBGYN will probably start by asking you some general questions about your personal or family history, some allergies, social history. Do you smoke or drink alcohol? What's the frequency? And then we will ask about your menstrual pattern, how many days you're having your menses, or what's the interval, or how many pads are you consuming in a day? Do you usually experience dysmenorrhea? Those kinds of questions. History of oral contraceptive use, we ask that, previous operations, and your recent result of your pap smear. Later on, I will explain what pap smear is. So your OBGYN should also ask you a lot of questions like, or these questions might get so personal, but your doctor needs to know everything about it. So we could care more, or we could care for you properly. Questions can deal with your period and any problems related to it, such as missed period, heavy periods, or your some vaginal discharge, if you have the color of your vaginal discharges, and then whether you are sexually active or not, how active you are sexually, the number of sexual partners, and then your sexually transmitted diseases, if you have, or you have a previous history of STDs, or you might have some birth control pills, or vaccine history you had once your pediatrician started to give you those vaccines. Then, after those questions, the physical examination is the next. So the nurse or the secretary will take you into the exam room and then ask you to undress completely. You will be given that you're given a gown that opens in front and a sheet to cover you up. No, the doctor will first examine your breast to check for any lumps, kung meron po mga bukol or other abnormalities. And then your abdomen is to be checked, no, for any mass or mga bukol din doon. Then your sensitive part is next, which is your vagina. So the OBGYN or obstetrician gynecologist will first examine the outside of the vagina, or what we call the vulva, and then the vaginal opening. So we will see if there are abnormalities like congenital abnormalities, and then the OBGYN will examine your reproductive organs from the inside. While your knees are bent and your feet are in the stirrups, we call that stirrups, no? Kung saan po nilalagay yung mga binti natin and paa. And then those stirrups are used to keep your legs apart, no? So the gynecologist could use speculum. The speculum is a device that holds your vagina open, no? Para makita namin yung loob ng vagina. And then you might feel some pressure during that time, but it should not be painful, no? Your OBGYN will also examine the walls of the vagina and the cervix. So the pap test is the next, no? The pap test or pap smear, we call that, is often done during the pelvic examination. This will be done once you are sexually active or when you turn 21. No, that's the recommendation. Your OBGYN will remove a sample of cells from your cervix using a small brush. Those cells will be sent to the laboratory, and they will check for any cervical cancer cells, no? Possibly the human papillomavirus and other abnormalities. And then if you have been sexually active, the doctor might test you for sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. We call that STDs, like gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, and HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. So to test for STDs, the OBGYN will take a swab of the tissue during the pelvic examination and or check blood or run some blood tests. And then the OBGYN will do an internal bimanual exam, or we call that IE, internal examination. It is done by placing one finger or two gloved fingers in your vagina, and then the other hand on top of the lower part of your abdomen. This will be done to feel your cervix, your uterus, sometimes fallopian tubes and ovaries from the outside of your body. Your doctor may also, if it's needed, do a rectovaginal examination. This will involve the obstetrician gynecologist placing a gloved finger in your rectum. So, I suggest that you use your annual OBGYN appointment as an opportunity to ask questions. Even if your questions seem intimate or embarrassing, you can be sure that your doctor has heard them before. And it's okay to ask about your periods, sex, or whatever you want to know about your reproductive health. So that's it. So, Kate?
Alright. Hi, Doc. Actually, may nag-PM sa akin. Itago na lang natin siya.
Okay.
Ayan. Tinatanong
Okay.
niya kung masakit daw ba yun, yung pap smear.
Okay. Sometimes you will feel uncomfortable. Lalo na kung first time. Pero it should not be painful. Lalo na kung unang-una pa lang alam ng OB na masasaktan siya. So, talagang gently ginagawa yun. Para minsan hindi siya, para bumalik pa rin yung patient, no? Magpa-pap smear siya everyday.
Doc, gaano ba ka-importante ang pap smear? I mean, is this supposed to be done regularly?
Okay. Yung pap smear, sometimes the thinking of women kung ano yung pap smear is nililinis, no, so yung loob. Pero the truth is pap smear is done for cervical cancer screening. So we remove a tissue from the cervix and then put those tissues sa slides, no, sa glass, and then send it to the laboratory for examination. Yun nga, katulad ng nasabi ko, pwedeng cervical cancer cells or precursor to cervical cancer.
Yeah. I see. Actually, I have only done this once. Kasi nga asked me when I got tested for PCOS. I think I was 18 at that time.
Okay. The pap smear should be done every year or at least every other year, no, for cervical cancer screening. Lalo na kung sexually active, no?
I see. So, ayan. Huwag ka na mahiya. Hindi siya masakit.
Yes. And then, if the result of the pap smear resulted to an infection, like bacterial vaginosis or any other infection, the OBGYN will give you treatment for that. And then, after completing that treatment, you will repeat your pap smear. So after 6 months. So mas frequent ang examination when you have infection, pelvic infection.
Okay, I see. So we have a few questions here, Doctora, that they would like to ask you. First being, as a healthy single lady, how often do we need to make an appointment with an OBGYN?
Okay, healthy women.
Yes.
As I said, you should do your pap smear every year. So if you don't have any infection, like I said, you should repeat your examination every 6 months. But if you're healthy, you should see your OBGYN every year for pap smear and then for some breast examination. But you can do your breast examination on your own. The best time to do breast examination, self breast examination at that, is after your menstruation. Sa day 8 or day 8 to day 10 of your menstruation, that's the best time to do your breast examination. For example, you palpate or nakapa mo yung bukol before your menses, it could be normal. But after menses, when you palpate a mass over there or some lumps on your breast, that's something else. So you should do your breast examination right after your menses.
I see. Ayan. So alam niyo na ngayon guys, ang pagpunta sa OBGYN ay hindi lang tuwing may sakit.
Right. At least every year.
Oo. As much as possible, especially if like, you know, we're healthy women, we're sexually active, we have partners,
Yes.
etc.
Sexually active sana all. No joke.
Mas dapat.
Yes,
Ano
that's right.
kaya?
That's right.
Quarantine. Joke.
That's right.
Right. So next question here we have, Doc, is why is having an annual pap smear? Oh, I think we asked ano din already.
Yeah.
Okay. So, eto, meron pala interesting question coming from a woman who is already currently 39 years old. When do I need to start getting a mammogram? My mom,
Okay.
this kasi, I mean, I've heard of mammogram only from my mother because it was required of her doctor.
Okay, mammogram.
Yeah.
You should undergo mammogram when you are 40. But if you have family history of breast cancer, you should start doing your surveillance earlier, like 35 years old, because you have a risk of getting breast cancer earlier, like 35 or earlier than 35. So the recommendation is do your mammogram at 35 years old if you have family history of breast cancer. Yeah.
Doc, paano kapag kunwari, I am remembering kasi my mother's sister who died of breast cancer, but she's the only one in the family who has that.
Oh.
Ulat kami kasi she was 45 when that happened, when we found out, the stage 4 na agad. So, after nun, si mama regular na nagpapamammogram. My question being, so, history na talaga siya ng family even though first time in the family to have one, di ba?
Yes. Sometimes if you have family history of one cancer, for example, breast cancer, it could manifest to other cancers like pancreas, colon. Hindi lang naman na breast per se ang mangyayari or mamamana no after that breast cancer. So hindi lang talaga siya mag-manifest as breast cancer, pwedeng iba. Pwedeng pancreatic or pwedeng lung cancer. Yan.
So happened na si auntie sa kanya nag-manifest as breast cancer.
Yes.
Okay, that clears thing up for me. Okay, next here we have is, ever since I've had my menstrual period, I had menstrual cramps every month. Do you have tips how to prevent this monthly pain? Dysmenorrhea, oh my gosh.
Yes. But not all, no? Sometimes there are women who don't have any dysmenorrhea. Sometimes sobra, no? Like pain score nila 9/10, 10/10. But you know, diet or well-balanced diet and exercise help to address the dysmenorrhea. So I advise you do your regular exercise and a well-balanced diet.
Doc, with you saying that, i-debunk natin ng myth. Sabi nila, bawal daw mag-exercise kapag nire-regla ka. Is this true, Doc?
No, you can do your light exercises when you have menstruation. Sometimes you feel uncomfortable doing your heavy exercises or strenuous exercises when you have menstruation, but it's not ano yung sinasabi nila na masama, no? It's not naman.
Doc, for a person, next question. For the person na kunwari ang menstruation niya is 1 day lang sa isang buwan, is that normal or counted na ba siya as irregular?
Kung 1 day lang, it's oligomenorrhea. No, we call that oligomenorrhea. The normal days of or the duration of menses is about 4 to 7 days. So masyadong konti na 1 day lang. I suggest merong surveillance na gagawin like transvaginal ultrasound and some blood works or blood tests.
Doc, ano yung tawag kapag yung ultrasound hindi sa
vagina?
Kasi di ba, virgin, I mean, if you're still young,
yes.
Yan, hindi siya advised na doon siya. So, sa kabila.
Transrectal ultrasound, yes. We call that transrectal ultrasound wherein dadaan siya sa puwet, sa anus, no? Yes.
So, those
transrectal.
Like, kunwari, younger girls.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We call that transrectal ultrasound.
Oh, kasi I had that Kaya I found out na may PCOS ako.
Oh, okay.
I was 18 at that time. Doc, when do you recommend that I have another like ultrasound?
Okay. Once you are PCOS, you're forever PCOS case. So that's a hereditary disease, no? Pwedeng namanan natin yun sa tita, sa mommy, no? Natin. So I advise regular exercise and well-balanced diet sa mga babae na may PCOS. That's the first line treatment. Sorry?
Hindi siya talaga like you can't cure it na you will be totally
yes. Once you are diagnosed with PCOS, you're forever PCOS case already. So we should alter the function of the ovaries na lang. Hindi naman kailangan operahan ng mga patients with PCOS, no? Hindi tinatanggal yung cyst na yon, but we should do regular exercise and well-balanced diet to para hindi tayo magkaroon ng risk factors kasi maaga tayong magkakaroon ng diabetes, hypertension, no, tumataas yung cholesterol, hyperlipidemia when you are diagnosed with PCOS. So we maintain the regular exercise and well-balanced diet once you are diagnosed with PCOS.
Marami pala siyang kaakibat. Oh my God.
Yes. And when you have a daughter, we might transfer or sabi ko nga na mamana tong PCOS. So, pwede niya makuha yung PCOS kasi hereditary siya, as I said.
Yeah, I see. Doc, how about, I have a question here. Jeffany from Facebook is asking, Doktora, possible po ba na bumalik yung PCOS after giving birth?
Okay, as I said, once you are diagnosed with PCOS, you are forever PCOS case. So, lucky that you na-deliver ka, nabuntis and then nag-deliver ng maayos, safely. Kasi mahirap talaga magbuntis yung mga women with PCOS. So, blessed ka na nagkaroon ka ng anak. Kasi mahirap po talaga na mabuntis ang mga women with PCOS.
Another question from one of our Facebook viewers, Doktora. Ask ko lang po, bakit kaya na-delayed ng period ng 2 weeks and then kapag kumikilos ng mabigat, tsaka lang po dumadating?
Okay. So I said, no, kanina na kailangan talaga natin ng regular exercise. Once you reach your ideal weight, doon na bumabalik yung normal ovulation natin, normal menstrual cycle natin. No, so pagka nagkakaroon ng mga delays sa menstruation, we suggest that, no, to do your regular exercise and well-balanced diet. When you are in subgroups of women who are overweight or obese, you should attain the ideal body weight to bring back your normal menstrual cycle.
I see. Okay, we have a question here naman po from a newlywed. So their question being, they're trying to get pregnant. Is there any recommendation for food, supplements, or whatnot that they could take so that it would help them get pregnant?
Okay. So any women who wants to get pregnant should start taking folic acid. The folic acid is for the transformation of the brain of the baby. So you have to take folic acid if you plan to get pregnant. No, even if you're not pregnant yet, you should start taking folic acid na. And then supplements, yun lang, no? Folic acid. But if you have any other supplements like calcium, your vitamin B complex, you can take that. And I also advise sa diet naman, well, balanced diet is enough. Wala namang certain diet no na recommend na very specific to enhance your fertility. Well, balanced diet is enough.
So, Doc, mag-debunk ulit tayo ng myth.
Okay.
Totoo ba na merong contribution ang mga positions when it comes to getting pregnant?
Okay. Wala. Wala talaga na recommend any position no ng sexual position. Wala talaga no. Sabi nila meron daw mga certain position pero sa mga pag-aaral wala naman. Wala naman.
So hindi talaga uubra para baby boy.
Oo, no. Oo, hindi naman siya recommended na ganitong position baby boy, ganitong position baby girl.
Yes.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So there's a question here naman is there a best age daw to get pregnant? If so, ano daw po yun?
Okay. Once you are 35 years old and above, you are already included in the subgroups of women who are in the advanced maternal age. So we recommend for you that you bear a child less than 35 years old. No? Wag naman yung mga less than or like 16, 17, no? Wag naman yun. 25 is a good age for getting pregnant, no? And basta less than 35, we suggest that because as we age, our eggs, no, our oocytes, we call that oocytes, decreases quality and quantity, no? Bumababa ang eggs natin and bumababa ang quality and quantity nila. Kumokonte, no, as we age hanggang menopause na. So kaya hindi tayo nagkakaroon pag menopause kasi maliliit na yung mga eggs natin and low quality na, hindi na nagpo-produce ng mga hormones like progesterone and estrogen. No? So we suggest less than 35.
Mare, you're 35, so kabahan ka na. Joke.
So high risk na, no? Pag 35 and up, high risk na. Diyan na magkakaroon ng mga hypertension while pregnant, diabetes, mellitus, and some other diseases. So we recommend that you get pregnant below 35.
All right. Doc naman, the next question here is, any tips for Filipina career women who want to give birth around 40 years old? Ano pa kaya ang pwede nilang i-contribute sa kanilang sarili?
Nako, 40 years old, deliver during 40 years old. Katulad ng nasabi ko, high risk na. Yun question nga is delivery na. But sometimes, those women are getting some difficulty of getting pregnant. Hindi lang sa delivery. Kasi pag 40 na, magkakaroon na ng low quality and low number of eggs. So, nahihirapan na talaga silang to get pregnant pagka 35 and above na. So, we recommend, sabi ko nga, less than 35 sana.
Doc, hindi kasi ako familiar. Is surrogacy allowed here in the Philippines?
The truth is, no. We don't have any third party like surrogacy, egg donor, sperm donor. We don't have that here sa Philippines. Bawal siya. So,
What do
dapat talaga other countries pag gusto ng mga surrogacy and
ba yung
those sorts talaga. Sorry?
pati po ba yung egg freezing?
Oh, we have egg freezing. Yung nagpa-preserve ka ng eggs mo for now when you plan to bear a child in the future. But we recommend to freeze your eggs less than 35. The best age is 25 pa rin kasi doon nagkakaroon ng mga good quality eggs and good number of oocytes. We call that oocytes or eggs.
Doc, yung walk through us the process ng freezing. 'Di ba ang nangyayari doon is you would get the specimen from the person, and then para siyang mangungupahan yung person na yon for the slot of the egg. 'Di ba?
Yes. We give medicines to stimulate your ovaries para mas madaming eggs na ma-produce from the ovaries, and then we harvest those oocytes or eggs and then cryopreserve those eggs. So meron din ng mga storage yan. We have IVF centers here in the Philippines. Pwede na mag-cryopreserve or egg freezing.
Okay. So, yun pa lang yung option na meron tayo for reproductive here in the Philippines, no?
Yes. So, bawal yung mga third party. Sometimes, we see in the movies, in some teleserye na nagkakaroon ng mga surrogacy and then mga sperm donor. Ang totoo niyan, hindi talaga pwede or wala sa atin sa Philippines na any third party, no?
Yeah, kasi there's no law protecting them eh.
Yes.
Kaya yung mga yung iba sa ibang bansa pa talaga sila nag-acquire, 'di ba?
That's true.
All right. So for our next question here, Doc, is for a pregnant woman, is it advisable to continue doing physical exercise? If so, ano po yung like kunwari during hanggang ganitong trimester lang ba pwede, mga ganon?
Provided that your pregnancy is not high risk or your placenta is not low, we call that placenta previa, you can do your regular exercises. Yung mga light exercises lang, not naman the strenuous exercises. You can do yoga, you can do some stretching. There are many exercises in YouTube, no, na pag pregnant ka, ito yung mga gagawin mo in some exercises. So, pwede naman. The answer to that question is pwede, basta hindi naman ganun ka-strenuous. And your pregnancy is not complicated. You don't have any labor signs, you're not bleeding, no? Yun yung mga complications kasi sa pag-pregnant, hindi pwede yung exercise.
Doc, there's an interesting question here. Kapag ba daw ligate na ang asawa niya, hindi na ba daw talaga mabubuntes?
Okay.
Or na daw ka?
There are contraceptive failures. We call that contraceptive failures. But the number is maliit lang, no? About mga 2 to 3%, even lower. Yeah. Kaya pag nangyari yun, ako grabe, blessed na talaga yung patient, no? Talagang para sa iyo talaga yung baby. Kasi maliit lang yung chance ng contraceptive failure. Hindi natin masasabi na 100% ay effective yung contraception. Meron din mga contraceptive failures.
Para naman, Doc, sa nagtatanong ngayon na medyo wild. Doc, pwede ba daw mag-sex ang partner even though ang partner ay pregnant?
Okay. If your pregnancy is not complicated, like I said, when your placenta is not low, you call that the placenta previa, you can do sexual contact. No, wala namang harm. Pero we advise not to do it during your first trimester because the risk of miscarriage increases when you do sexual contact during first trimester of pregnancy. So we advise couples not to do it during their first trimester of pregnancy.
So mga mister, outside the Colombo po muna tayo kapag first
Yes.
trimester. Ayan. So Doc, what pregnancy symptoms are normal and what is an emergency? Kasi I also remember my sister-in-law before na nangyari sa kanya na akala namin okay lang siya. Yun pala, emergency na. So Doc, paano ba namin malalaman if normal lang ba to, ganyan, or dapat
Okay.
emergency na?
The normal symptoms of pregnancy are dizziness, vomiting, but sometimes your vomiting gets worse. Then it will result to weakness. Yun naman yung severe vomiting. We call that hyperemesis gravidarum. Sometimes the patient will experience dehydration. So yun na yung hindi normal. Yung mga duduwal o nausea, that's normal. But if the patient is you cannot function anymore within the day, the quality of life goes down, meron namang medication for that. No, we give metoclopramide for severe vomiting, no. And then sometimes the patient would experience bloatedness. Minsan nagkakaroon ng reflux, no? Gastroesophageal reflux. And we also give medications for that.
Ayun, Doc. So, Doc, meron dito, question niya naman ay, how can we avoid C-section delivery? Any physical exercise to help in having a normal delivery of the baby? Apart from the mga tradisyon galing kay Lola.
Okay. Many factors, no, or there are indications to do cesarean delivery or cesarean section. One is if your cervix is not dilating or if it's not opening. For example, na-stuck tayo sa 6 cm, 7 cm for 4 hours. Hindi talaga siya nag-open. That's one factor. Second is we have this normal labor curve na pag ganitong time, dapat ganito na siya kababa, ganitong time, dapat ganito na siya kababa. No, bumababa yung head ni baby. No? And then, pag na-stuck doon ng matagal, that's another indication. No? Failure talaga na hindi bumaba si baby. Third is, kapag bumaba yung heartbeat ni baby, nagkakaroon na ng fetal distress. When the heartbeat of the baby gets bradycardic, less than 60s, we do cesarean section, no? Non-reassuring fetal distress. We call that NRFS. The fourth one is during your labor, your blood pressure is high, no? Severe hypertension. Even if we give the maximum dose of antihypertensive, mataas pa rin yung kanilang blood pressure. No? Ang nakakatakot doon, mag-eclamp siya or magkaroon ng seizure during labor. So we avoid that. Another indication is dry labor, masyado nang matagal na nawala ng tubig sa loob ng sinapupunan, no? Na nauna yung watery vaginal discharge and then hindi pa lumalabas si baby na matagal na may communication inside and the outside environment. Mataas na yung risk for infection. That's another indication to do CS. But apart from that, kung hindi naman nagkakaroon ng mga ganong scenario or hindi nangyayari yung mga indications to do CS, normal delivery pa rin. So, we would know if you are for cesarean section during the time of your labor lang. No, hindi natin malalaman kung not unless you're scheduled repeat cesarean section. Hindi, pero pag first time mom, first time na nagbuntis at hindi natin malalaman kung normal delivery or cesarean section.
I see. Ayan, I hope that clears that up. Doc, with the emerging of a lot of products nowadays for feminine use, pag-usapan natin sila. Okay. First being, Doc, familiar ka ba sa Diva Cup or yung silicone na menstrual cup?
Oh yeah. Pwede naman magamit ang menstrual cup, no? Sabi nila mas sustainable for them, hindi masyadong gumagastos for pads. Okay naman yung menstrual cup.
Ayan. How about Doc? Kasi may mga tag dito, research ba na nagpo-prove nung whatever na nag-advise na kasi 'di ba some say na kunwari yung tampons may mga lumabas before na mga cases na nagkaroon ng sakit because of using those type of products, ganyan.
Yes.
On a normal Filipino setup, ano po ba yung parang pinaka-recommended ninyo for like menstruating women? Kasi like for example, parang ang nakaka-insecure kasi gumamit naman ng menstrual cup kung bata ka pa kasi you will be inserting it inside your vagina. So, ano po ba usually ang nare-recommend talaga ng like ng OP?
Okay, sometimes the patient would opt for using pads. Sometimes their patient nasanay sila to use tampons. So wala namang problem kung talagang ano yung mas hilig mong gamitin or ano ka na, tinatawag na hiyang. But most important thing is always to be clean. No, when you use your tampons, you change it frequently. When you use pads, same thing. You have to change frequently. Every time you pee, you change your pad. No, hindi dapat na nabababad yung pad mo, matagal ka na hindi nagpapalit. So the key is always to be clean. Laging maging malinis lang. Sometimes pag yung mga patients, when they use tampons, hindi nila chine-change. The most frequent disease is tetanus or any other infection. So we advise to change your tampons, your pads frequently.
Doc, how about yung paggamit naman ng mga pH like wash, ganyan? Kasi sabi naman nila, it washes off daw your normal pH or masyado niyang ina-alter yung normal pH level ng iyong vagina. How true is this, Doc? Is it really not recommended to use every wash? Or paano ba? Kasi before, na-advise din ako to use a certain, like betadine, not sponsored guys. Use that, pero may may dosage, kung kailan lang, like every other day, may ganang mga advices ang mga doctor. So para po sa mga regular na gumagamit nun, ano ba talaga ang pinaka-advisable na pang-wash over there?
Okay. Before, we don't have any like PH care, hindi pa rin auto sponsor pero wala pang any feminine wash before. Ang important thing lang again is to always clean the sensitive part or most private part. PH care or any other feminine wash is to maintain the pH of your vagina. Your vagina is acidic, no? When you have infections, when you when you have a sexual partner or you do some sexual contact, it makes your vagina alkaline or alkaline. So you have to maintain the pH of your vagina by using those feminine wash. But if you have any infection like bacterial vaginosis or cervicitis, we advise to use povidone iodine or chlorhexidine, no, to yes, no, para ma-wash siya ng maigi, hindi lang yung maintaining the pH of your vagina. Meron din na antimicrobial or antibacterial property yung chlorhexidine or povidone iodine. Not the concentration we are using sa wounds, no? We have povidone iodine preparation for the feminine area. No?
Yes, ayan. Okay, Doc, we have a question from our Facebook viewer here. Kyle is asking, what are some symptoms ng cervical cancer that we need to look out for and tips to prevent it?
Okay. The symptoms of cervical cancer are foul-smelling discharge, when you have any irregular vaginal bleeding or heavy vaginal bleeding. How to prevent? Use have your pap smear every year, because as I said, pap smear is a cervical cancer screening, no? Every year magpapa-pap smear tayo para ma-prevent natin, kasi makikita natin yung mga early or tinatawag na precursor cells sa pap smear, na ang ibig sabihin ng precursor is beginning pa lang, no? So makikatch na natin, or early detection tayo when you do your pap smear every year. Another thing to prevent is the HPV vaccine. So every obstetrician gynecologist promote every woman to have their HPV vaccine or human papilloma virus vaccine. Baka kasi hindi rin alam ng mga patients na we have this prevention for cervical cancer. So we have that.
Actually, nagpa-vaccine ako before eh.
That's good. 3 doses siya, no? When you complete those three doses of vaccines, lifetime na siya. You don't have to put any boosters, no? So complete the 3 vaccines and it's a lifetime prevention for cervical cancer.
Yes, actually. I was really suggested by my OB at that time to do it. Nung nagpa-check nga ako for PCOS, sinabay na.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. So another question here is, last time may na-recommend po sa akin na OB na okay daw po ang wash ng betadine and water. Yung mga rare cases po ng, oh my gosh, paano to ba? The DIDEL. I cannot read this. Oh my gosh. Possible po kaya silang mabuntis? Didelphys?
Oh, uterine didelphys. Uterine didelphys is a congenital abnormality. When you have 2 uterus and 2 cervices. That's uterine cervix. Dalawa yung uterus or matres nila. Yan ang uterine didelphys. Yan. So ano ba ang question niya? Related sa infection? Mas nagkakaroon ng infection pag didelphys?
No, kung possible daw ba mabuntis?
Oh yes, oo. Pwede mabuntis ang merong uterine didelphys. Yes.
Grabe, dalawa yung uterus.
Yes. Merong left, merong right. Sometimes sabubuntis sila dito sa left. Sometimes dito sa right. Kasi dalawa siya.
So possible din ba ang twins? Sabay?
Pero rare. I guess merong case na ganun, pero rare naman siya.
Okay. So we have also here, Doc, na quite interesting. So is having a low sex drive common for older women? If so, how to avoid it?
Okay. Kaya lang naman nagkakaroon ng mga low sexual drives ang older women is because they are experiencing vaginal dryness, no? Masakit na kapag nagkakaroon ng sexual contact. Irritable na sila. So, meron na silang mga hot flushes. Yung mga na-experience nila symptoms of menopause. So, that's the reason why nagkakaroon ng mga low sexual drives ang older women. Pero sometimes we have patients na mas tumanda sila, mas nagkaroon pa sila ng sexual drive. So, iba-iba din, no? Iba-iba rin.
Oo, meron ako kilala, Doc. 60 na siya, nagpa-reconstruct pa siya. Kasi gusto niya gumanda. Yung
we have flower arrangement pa.
Yung flower arrangement pa siya.
Yes.
Alright, okay. So, any recommended food or supplement to take in keeping my reproductive system healthy? May specifically ba, Doc, na supplement targeting that?
Oh, no specific supplement naman. Basta you always keep your vulvar area or your pelvic organs na din, no, sa loob healthy, and then you don't engage in multiple sexual partners because sometimes that will cause pelvic inflammatory diseases, no, kasi nagkakaroon ng mga multiple infections pag multiple sexual contacts. Kaya sometimes it is a cause for infertility. Nagkakaroon ng mga adhesion sa part ng fallopian tubes when you have multiple sexual partners. Yan. So minsan hindi din kasi din walang information no ang mga patients about that. So we encourage being monogamous talaga.
How about toys? Is it really like are toys allowed for women?
um
Is it
Hindi
okay?
naman sa hindi allowed, no?
Is it
Basta you keep it clean. Always keep it clean.
mm,
Kasi sometimes it will cause infections, pelvic infections. Sometimes we encounter same-sex relationships. That's when they use or experiment with those toys. They have specific infections like bacterial vaginosis. So our advice is always to keep your vulvar area clean. So after you do your sexual contact, you go to the bathroom, you wash, you pee. So for prevention of any pelvic infection.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Doktora, for clearing up all those myths and then mga questions naming mga curious dito. Ayan. So, maybe, Doc, do you have any message for those women who are afraid to go and visit their OB-GYNs? Kasi nga, di ba, ito feeling ko talaga, this is common with Filipinos, like sa kultura natin. Kung hindi ka may sakit, hindi ka magpapa-check up. So,
That's true. That's true. So
for
the recommendation talaga is 13 to 15 years old. That's when you start visiting your OBGYN, or when you engage in sexually you're sexually active already. We do pap smear every year. We always recommend pap smear every year, and we advise patients to do their self breast examination. As I said, right after your menses. No, the ideal time to do it is between day 8 to day 10 of your menses. When we take a bath, no, we have soap suds on our hands, and then we can do our self breast examination while taking a bath. That's the best time then, kasi nagsislide lang yung ating hands sa breast natin. So that's when we easily palpate for any lumps, any mass on our breast. And then what else? When we visit an obstetrician gynecologist, there will be early diagnosis or early catchment of your any disease like pelvic infection or any mass like myoma or adenomyosis. Masyado ng scientific, but malalaman agad no yung mga diseases when you see your OBGYN. Meron din na mga kahit na normal, or when you don't have any symptoms, you just visit your OBs and then consult everything about it, about your reproductive health, no? Pwedeng magtanong ng mga kahit sensitive na mga bagay, kahit even sex, no? Yung sex kasi hindi din na nadidiscuss, na mas maganda pa rin with your OBGYN to talk about these things, hindi doon sa mga iba, diba? So, keep your reproductive organs healthy by doing your regular exercise and well-balanced diet, and always keep your vulvar area clean.
Yon, laging tatandaan, maglinis po.
Yes.
Yan, magpalit.
That's true.
Okay. So, Doc, because of the pandemic, paano naman ang pagbisita sa ating mga OB? So,
Okay.
ano po ang masasuggest nyo, Doc? How do we parang set appointments? Are there available online consultations or whatnot?
Yes. We have what we call teleconsultations. Some OBs have their online consultations. You can visit your OBGYNs virtually. So kahit na pandemic, we advise to see your OBGYNs pa rin, no, kahit pandemic. Kasi meron din naman na mga virtual online consultations. And then once your OBs suggest to visit them for physical examination, you can visit them and then have face-to-face consultation with them.
Ayan. So, Doc, how about you, Doc? Saan po ba available ang clinic mo po?
Okay. My practice is in Antipolo. The hospital is Metro Antipolo Medical Center. I also practice in Pasig Doctors Medical Center. In Fatima University Medical Center in Antipolo. And then Marikina Valley Medical Center and Cardinal Santos Medical Center for those patients who live near San Juan naman.
I see. Ayan. So, thank you so much, Dr. Jeline, for joining us this evening. And then,
Welcome.
with us your knowledge, especially on how to take care of our reproductive system. Ayan. Maraming salamat po. So, guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to thumbs up and share this with your friends so that they would also learn more about how to take care of their reproductive system. Ayan. And magkita-kita po tayong muli next week, 8 p.m. here at Muzencore for another session of Q Cafe, your favorite online tambayan. Ayan, so excited kami lagi na makasama kayo to learn with you guys, and I do hope we earn the privilege of your time tonight. So once again, maraming salamat po for joining us. Thank you, Doktora. Bye.
Welcome. Okay.